Before we start painting paper to create our own Eric Carle inspired animals, we are going to practice using our paint to create a variety of colors and then even a variety of textures. So we're going to start with some vocabulary about the different kinds of colors on the color wheel. And the first kind we're going to talk about is warm colors. So warm colors are the ones that are on this half of the color wheel, from yellow all the way to red violet. They're called warm because they give us kind of a feeling of warmth or of heat when we see them. They're often thought of as fall colors as well, because these are the colors we see all the leaves turning. So we're going to start with warm colors, and we're going to invent some colors today. It's up to you to create your own signature mix of warm colors to create 6 new colors. So we're going to do that with tempera paint. Our tools today are a plate, this is our paint palette, water for cleaning, brush, and a rag or towel. So warm colors means we're going to be working with some red and some yellow. Possibly we can use some magenta, which is a lot like red but great for mixing. And then we can even put some white. It's not on the color wheel, but it can help us create different types of warm colors, tints of warm colors. Now, I didn't take a lot of paint, and that's for a good reason. I don't need that much paint for 6 little circles. So I want to keep my little bits of paint small because I know that I can always get more paint. But once it's on this plate, if I don't use it and it comes cleanup time, I hear the time timer ring, I've got to wash it all down the sink. So in the interest of using our materials wisely, let's just take what we need. So the first thing I need to do is mix something. So I like to start by taking a good dab of one of my colors, setting it aside. Then I do swish, wipe, blot. I can pick a new color that I want to mix with it, maybe a little bit of yellow. I know that yellow is not as strong, so I probably need a good dab of it to change the color here. And when I mix them together, I just use the end of my brush, trying not to get it too far into the bristles that are connected to or going into the ferrule, because that makes it hard to clean. And then I take my paint and put it in one of my circles. That is a fun red-orange color. So I'm going to fill in this circle. I shouldn't be surprised that it made orange. I know that yellow and red make orange, and it is a red-orange because there's more red, and it's kind of overpowering the yellow. So time to make a new one. Let's swish, wipe, and blot again. And this time maybe I'll try with the magenta and the yellow and see how different it is. So I'm going to swish, wipe, blot really quickly just so I don't turn my yellow magenta as I get a big glob of it. And then I can mix them up right here in this little spot. See what happens. Get a good mix, and then let's put it on the paper. Oh my goodness, it's pretty similar. If I was unhappy by the sheer fact that they look so similar, I can do something about that. I can add something. I can't take anything away, but I can add. So I'm going to add some white to it and see what that does. Well, that definitely turned it into a tint. So I could use this in this circle, or I could go back and add a little bit of this to that one. But that's definitely a different warm color now. That is a peachy color. All right. So I'm going to swish, wipe, and blot, and I'm going to fill in the rest of my circles. When the time timer rings, it's cleanup time. And when it comes to cleaning up after painting, there are a few things we need to do. Number one, you don't need to bring the whole tray back here. We really just need the paint palette, we need the brush, and we need this cup of dirty water. This towel will be reused. I can open it up so it can dry out and leave it right on its tray. This should be pretty clean, so we're going to set that aside. To clean out my water cup, and I like to do that first, I need just a little bit of running water. I can clean my brush at the same time that I clean out that cup. It really takes once and a quick rinse, and then this is good enough. It doesn't need to be clean enough to eat out of. So I'm going to put that in the drying rack in a moment. I'm going to make sure that my bristles are nice and clean by using my fingers and my hands to kind of paint my palm and make sure that no more color is coming out in the water. Now I can set that aside, and while all that's been happening, the water has been running over my plate. The water takes care of most of it, but if I need to, I can also use a brush, give it a quick swirl. It only takes a few, and then a rinse, and I am good to go. What should I do with my plate, my brush, and my cup? Well, I'm certainly not going to leave them here on this counter. It's too small, and it's not going to get dry. So I'm going to use this little device right here. It's a dish drying rack. I'm going to take my plate, and there are little grooves in the bottom that allow it to stand straight up, which is awesome because then the water drips down and it dries. My hairdo should be pretty sharp on this paintbrush before I put it in the utensil drying part of the dish rack. And then my water cup just simply goes upside down into the drying rack. Now I don't ever take other wet things and stack them inside each other. And the reason for that is then the water gets trapped, it can't evaporate, and it eventually becomes quite stinky. I don't like a stinky art room. I don't think you do either, so we always separate things. And it's more like when you stack cups, you want to give them each their own space, but then you can balance things around them so that they can all have a chance to drain out. So, 3 easy things to do in the drying rack, the dish drying rack. And once you've done that, you're good to go. Make sure your table's clean.